November 900 Papa Tango, a Cirrus SR22, erupted into a ball of flame when it impacted the ground 600 feet to the left side of the approach end of Runway 22.
A plane crashed right near Rain Hair Salon on Bar Harbor Road. Bar Harbor Road? I guess there's an airport right here. The plane just crashed.
Okay, so it's on, did it crash on the roadway or?
No, on the field.
Is it at the airport?
Yes, right near the airport. It crashed on the east side of this road.
Oh, okay. How big a plane is it?
It looked like a personal, smaller plane.
Like 4-passenger, maybe?
Cameras are everywhere, and so are influencers. The final seconds of the occupants' lives were captured by a TikTok influencer with 350,000 followers.
No. Oh my God. A plane just crashed. No, it didn't. It just crashed. Oh shit.
Okay. What the fuck? Were there people in it?
Yeah.
Should we call 911?
Yes.
It happened so fast.
Yes, I didn't know why you were gasping like that. I thought it was like, oh, a moose. I thought it was something like...
No.
The wreckage area was described by the NTSB as compact. This is a stand-in for high-speed vertical, the sort of thing that happens when an aircraft spins following a loss of control. It's a sort of crash that leaves little mechanical evidence behind. Per the NTSB, the engine was thermally damaged. The fuel pump shaft was intact but stiff to rotate due to thermal damage. The fuel flow divider was intact but the diaphragm was destroyed by fire. The fuel injectors were thermally damaged. The magnetos were thermally damaged with no spark produced on any leads. Compression was observed on all cylinders but number 3. That cylinder was impact damage and the rocker arm covers were crushed into the push rods. Michael Leibowitz, 71, was at the controls of the airplane. Christina Chung, 57, was next to him. Leibowitz had made his mint by founding a telecommunications services company which his daughter now runs. The pair departed from Morristown, New Jersey on July 25th, bound for Hancock Bar Harbor Airport. The approach was thick with fog and an overcast layer, light rain, and mist. The NTSB describes video footage of the accident as depicting the aircraft appearing from a heavy fog 40 feet above the approach end of Runway 22. The recorded weather at Bar Harbor was 1.5 miles of visibility with an overcast of 300 feet, perfectly standard weather for an ILS approach. There's nothing particularly special about the chart. A 1,530-foot obstacle to the southeast explains the missed approach procedure of climbing straight ahead to 2,000 feet prior to turning towards the missed approach fix. The Bangor VOR located in the opposite direction to the northwest. At 3/4 of a mile, the minimums are a touch higher than the ILS standard of 1/2 mile, likely due to the terrain surrounding the airport, which also results in a restriction to circling approaches to runway 17 and 35 at night. The glide path to runway 22 is a standard 3 degrees, as is a 200-foot decision height. At 5,200 feet, the runway is not particularly long, but well within the requirements for a plane like the SR22. Hancock County Bar Harbor Airport is untowered, which means that there's no tower controller to cancel the flight plan once the aircraft is touched down, or call 911 if it bursts into flames. Pilots communicate with one another over the Common Traffic Advisory Frequency, 123.0 in this case. Bangor Approach Control manages instrument approaches into the airport, ensuring separation between aircraft when pilots can't do it visually. The mechanical operation of the aircraft is going to be a difficult nut to crack for the NTSB. Several components were damaged. The gist of the preliminary report is that the damage was solely caused by crash impact and post-crash fire. Indeed, an airport worker who was busy with repairs to airport lighting reported hearing the Cirrus's Continental rev to full power prior to looking up and spotting the aircraft in a steep left descending turn.
There was heavy fog on the runway at the time of that crash. Crews from multiple agencies responding. The National Transportation Safety Board will conduct an investigation into what happened there. We will bring you more information as we learn it.
Today, we are learning more about that plane crash last month in Trenton that killed 2 people. Someone who was working on the runway lighting at the Hancock County Bar Harbor Airport witnessed the crash. The witness reportedly told the NTSB that he heard the plane's engine go to full power, making a sharp turn before descending and hitting the ground.
The witness stated that he could barely see the aircraft from 100 yards away due to the thick fog. Likely he was referring to seeing the aircraft from below, 100 yards being the same as the 300-foot overcast reported at the airport at the time. The TikTok video from the road seems to confirm the 1.5 mile visibility reported as well. The TikTok/Instagram/YouTube influencer Jennifer captured the crash not on a phone but on a dash-mounted camera. The aircraft is visible for only a few frames before it hits the ground at a high rate of speed, nose down, bursting into a fireball. At 040 degrees, the aircraft orientation was 180 degrees off of the runway 22 heading. This means that within a few hundred feet, the aircraft swapped nose for tail. It's hard to do that unless you're spinning. Doing that 300 feet above the ground means that the pilot lost control. Life is fickle. 15 minutes of fame transacted in blood. The preliminary report seems to indicate that the NTSB is leaning towards weather as a factor in the accident. If that's the case, they're not entirely wrong. Loss of control is more likely in IFR than in VFR, all other things being equal. Yet the approach itself appears to have been conducted well within the minimums published for the runway. The NTSB was able to retrieve the Cirrus's remote data module and multifunction display. These devices capture data like a flight data recorder in an airliner, except they're not crash resistant. If data from these devices can be retrieved, it'll paint a clearer picture about aircraft orientation just prior to the crash. Given the substantial crash forces and fire, don't hold your breath. It's not hard to predict what's coming next. The NTSB will attempt to determine what sort of weather briefing the pilot availed himself of prior to flight. If they can get a hold of his logbook, they'll catalog his total time, experience, and IFR conditions, status of flight review, currency for approaches, et.al. This really has more to do with blame than what happened. The pilot lost control of the aircraft for an undetermined reason. A critical component that the NTSB leaves out from the airport worker's testimony is what work exactly was he doing on the airport lights. Runway 22 had a MALSF, which in this case are 1,400-foot medium-intensity approach lighting system with sequenced flashers. This system extends from the runway centerline so that pilots can easily identify the runway in low visibility conditions. If these lights were inoperative, it would have increased the minimum visibility for the approach to 1 mile. Still good enough to land from the approach if the visibility from the aircraft was 1.5 miles. Still, visibility reported by an airport is not the same as what a pilot will see slant range on a 3-degree glide slope, especially from the bottom of an overcast layer. It's possible that the pilot elected to go around after arriving at the decision height without the runway in sight, just like he's supposed to do. Or the approach became unstable and so he initiated a go-around, again just like he's supposed to do. The ultimate result was that the pilot lost control of the aircraft. A lot of things happen to a person when they turn 71. Reaction times are delayed. Judgment and cognition become foggier. If you want to be elected to the highest office in the free world, you're just a babe. But an airplane in some ways is more dangerous than nuclear codes. There is no committee to hold your hand while on short final to a fogged-in runway. Only your wits and reactions. It's a hell of a thing getting older. Experience makes everyone brighter. Gray hair is a crown of glory. Biology can be cruel. It doesn't care about any of this. At 100 knots, 200 feet off the deck, aerodynamics are the difference between life and death. God bless them. Until next time.
So it's like they knew.
No.
They knew.
Still see it.